We continue now at the top of Daf Tesla Aleph and Mesechet Kesubos. This is Kesubos Daf 9a. The Gemara continues a statement of Rebbe Lazar. Ha'omer Pesach Pasuach Matzasi. Let's say somebody claims that the entrance it was open, meaning to say he has relations with his wife, and he says that she was not a basula. So Naman La'osra Olav, that statement he's believed in order to make her forbidden for him, meaning regarding him, he is now prohibited to be with his wife because essentially he is saying that she committed adultery. Rashi over here says Ha'omer Pesach Pasuach Matzasi V'tainas Damim Ein Lo Kagon Shimi Mishpachas Durtiki Shein Lem Dam Besulim. He doesn't have a claim of blood because there are certain families who they don't have Dam Besulim. Kidel Kamon, like we'll say later on. Oshenevda Mimenu Mapor. Let's say he lost the cloth. He doesn't have evidence. V'lo Yodem Haya Damim Lav. He doesn't know if there was blood or not. Avozos Brura Lo Shepesach Pasuach Matzah. But one thing he knows, it was a Pesach Pasuach, and therefore he says she was not a Besula. So Naman Lo Osra Olav, he's believed to make her forbidden to him. V'yafapi Shein Adavar Azay Yochel Isbarel Al Piv L'Gabe even though there's no way to clarify this matter, but regarding himself, he can make her usher to him. Now she is no longer permitted to him. But he's not believed in order to make her lose the ksuba. And so the Gemara continues, why should this be true? Rashi says, why should she be forbidden to him, even if we believe him that she had relations? But why should that be true? Because it's really a double doubt over here. Number one, Safek Tachtav, Safek Ein Tachtav. Number one, we don't know if she committed adultery after the time of the betrothal, or maybe she had relations before there was an Erusin, so it's not adultery at all, and she's not forbidden. And if you're going to say it was after she was already married to him that she committed this adultery, Safek ba'ones, Safek baratzin. We don't know if it was a situation of ones, meaning a situation of rape, in which case she's still permitted to him anyway, or whether it was willingly. And so the Gemara says, no, tzricha, it's needed for the following case. Be'eshes Kohen, we're specifically and only talking about the wife of a Kohen. In that case, even if it was a situation of ones, of rape, so still she would be forbidden to him. So the only Safek is whether it was tachtav or not tachtav. That's just one Safek. And so therefore she is prohibited to him. And the Gemara continues, if you want, I could say another answer. Be'eshes Yisrael, we're talking about a situation of the wife of a Yisrael. But the Kiddushin was accepted by her father on her behalf, and she was younger than 3 years old. And in such a situation, it is obvious it would not be Pesach Pasuach unless the act of relations took place after she was 3 years old. And therefore it is clear that it was a situation after the Erusin. Again, the only question is whether it was a situation of rape or not. Rashi over here says, and now she's older. At this point in time, if you seduce her at this point in time, it's not considered rape. So therefore there's really only one doubt. Safek ones, Safek ratzon. The question is, was this a rape or not? There's no doubt that it happened while she was married. She certainly was married. Because if it happened before when she was younger than 3, so then the besulim would actually come back. It would not be pasuach. It would not be open anymore. If she's too young, if she's younger than that, so then it's like when you put the finger in the eye, so the tear goes out and then it returns. Here also, the besulim would have returned. So again, there's only going to be one Safek in such a situation. In any case, the Gemara says, but what's this chiddush? What's the chiddush of Rebbe Lazar? Tanina, we already learned this. Rashi over here says, we already learned this concept that a person can prohibit something to himself by his own testimony, even if you don't have objective edim, so to speak. We learned as follows. Let's say a person says to a woman, I betrothed you. And she says it's not true, there was no kiddushin. So the halach is, he mutaris bekrovav, she is mutter to his relatives, but by his own word, he becomes forbidden to her relatives. So that seems to be the same idea, so what's Rebbe Lazar even teaching us? And so the Gemara says, no, what might you have thought? Hasam devadai kimle. Over there, it's something that he's certain about. He's certain that he betrothed her. But over here, he can't be absolutely certain that it was Pesach Basuach. Is everybody such an expert at that? Kamash Malan, Rebbe Lazar is saying, no, it's enough. It's enough for him if he says that he is now prohibited to her. And the Gemara continues, but did Rebbe Lazar even make this statement? Rashi over here says, that if you have a woman who commits adultery just by the word of her husband, that's enough to prohibit her to him. Did he really say that is true? Rebbe Lazar made another statement as follows. He said that a woman is not prohibited prohibited to her husband, unless you have a situation where there was a warning and there was seclusion. Rashi over here says, Kinoi she'amar lo al tisri imploni, he has to say to her, do not go into seclusion with so-and-so. Ustira, and then there has to actually be seclusion. Shebo edim shenistra imo achar kinoi. There have to be edim that come in and say that there was a seclusion after the warning, and apparently Rebbe Lazar is saying only through that is she prohibited him, and otherwise not. And Rebbe Lazar finishes, it has to be like the story that happened in the Navi. That's the story of David and Bathsheba. And so the Gemara says, one second, that whole statement of Rebbe Lazar doesn't even really make sense. But is it logical to take that statement at face value? Number one, Ma'isa Shaya B'Kinoi Stira, did the story of David and Bathsheba, did that happen with Kinoi and Stira? Was there warning and seclusion in that case? The answer is number one, there was not. V'yod, and furthermore, Mi'asrua, did they even prohibit her? Meaning in that case of David and Bathsheba, there was no prohibition. The Chachamim did not say that she was prohibited to her husband or to David HaMelech. Rashi over here says, V'tizbara Dahachi Amar Rebbe Lazar Ma'isa Shaya Mi'ava Be'Kinoi. Was there a warning in the case over there that she shouldn't go into seclusion with David HaMelech? V'yod Mi'asru al Uriah, and was she ever prohibited to Uriah? The Ilu Nesra al Uriah, Rashi says if she was prohibited to Uriah, Nesra af al David, she would have been prohibited to David also. The Kaim V'lon Kashem Sha'asur L'Bal Kach Asur L'Bal. The halacha is, just like she's usher to her husband, she's also usher to the adulterer, and of course we know she was not prohibited to David HaMelech, she would eventually marry David HaMelech. And so therefore the statement again of Rebbe Lazar cannot be taken at face value. And so the Gemara says, "Hello, Kasha." That's not difficult. Hachi Kamer. Here's how you could understand this second statement of Rebbe Lazar. Ein ha'isha neseres al bala el al iske kinoi ustira. A woman is only prohibited to her husband if there's kinoi and stira. Mi ma'isa shaya, and that can be derived from the story of David and Bathsheba. To lo have a kinoi stira, because there was not kinoi and stira. V'lo istira, and there she was not prohibited. So you can derive from there why wasn't she prohibited? Because there was no kinoi and stira. But if there was, that's when she becomes prohibited. And the Gemara says, Mikol makom kasha. Nevertheless, it is difficult. Kinoi ustira in, because here in the second statement, Rebbe Lazar seems to be saying you need kinoi and stira. Pesach pasuach lo, and apparently Pesach pasuach is not enough to prohibit a woman on her husband. And the Gemara says, one second, according to your reasoning, kinoi ustira in edim lo, would you say that only kinoi and stira prohibit a woman from her husband, but if you had edim who testified that there was adultery, that wouldn't be enough? That would be absurd. Of course edim are going to be enough. Rashi over here says, edim lo bitmiya, would you say edim is not enough? Afilu yesh edim shezinsa shema eina neseres below kinoi, would you say even with edim, without kinoi, it's not enough? V'aksiv ki matzav b'ervas davar v'od halin nispas asura. The psukim already say it's clear that if you have edim, that is going to be enough. And so again, still we can't take the statement of Rebbe Lazar, the second statement, at face value. But the Gemara says, no, you can understand as follows. Rather, you have to understand Rebbe Lazar as follows. This will resolve the question. It means a woman does not become prohibited to her husband with one witness. Rather, you need two witnesses. Now, if you have kinoi and stira, then even one witness is sufficient. And if the person says Pesach Pasuach, that's going to be considered like two witnesses. And Rashi over here says, let's say you have a situation of witnesses that he was warned, that he warned her, that she was warned rather, and then you have edim that say that she went into seclusion after the warning. Even one aid is enough. Even if in the actual act of defilement, the actual act of adultery, there's one aid, that's enough. The word aid in singular actually refers to two aidim. There's one witness, that's enough. And again, if she wasn't raped, so then it's going to create a prohibition. Because then already, even though you only have one aid in terms of the actual act of adultery, it's clear that she committed adultery. Because there was already a warning, there was seclusion. And there's one aid that's saying that there was a defilement. And now you have no question to Rebbe Lazar, you have no contradiction within Rebbe Lazar. The Pesach Basuach la'osra alatzmo kishnei edim dami, because Pesach Basuach, he creates a prohibition on himself. That's the same as two edim. Sharei davar borer hu lo shenevala, because again, it's clear to him that she had relations, and therefore, again, that's how we can reconcile the statement of Rebbe Lazar. And so again, that's what the Gemara says, Pesach Basuach kishnei edim dami. And the Gemara continues, v'chitema. Now, if you're going to ask as follows, ma'isa shahayim evnei ma lo asru, how come in the story of David HaMelech, with Bathsheba, how come there was no prohibition? And so the Gemara answers, Hasam ones have. Over there we can say that it actually was a situation of rape. Now Rashi over here says, David, why wasn't she forbidden to David? Many Eidim knew what happened, therefore there should be a prohibition. And so the Gemara answers, number one, it was a case of rape. And the Gemara continues, if you want, I could say another answer. It's like what Rabbi Shmuel bar Nachmani said in the name of Rabbi Yonasan, and we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Tes Amud Beis.